like to finish off the beginner series by showing you how you can use the techniques that you've mastered in the previous tapes and how you can apply them to other styles of music. Now, just because we've been talking about classical guitar, it doesn't mean that you're limited to only playing that style of music. You can apply that technique to play almost anything. What I'd like to do is show you how you can take a simple folk tune and how you can use the techniques that you've already mastered and apply it to that tune. One thing before I get to that I'd like to mention, you might find a lot of situations where you'll be sitting around and you don't have a chair and a footstool, and you might be sitting, like me, on a couch. Somebody may hand you a guitar and say, play for me. And rather than saying, well, I can't do it, I need a chair, I have to be in my perfect position, try to think of the principles that I've taught and apply them. So even though I'm sitting on a couch, you can see how the guitar is supported without the use of the left hand. When people sit like this, it's very common for them to do this. Again, it makes it very difficult to play. So however you're sitting, try to get the guitar in such a way that it can be supported without the use of the left hand. And then try to adapt the other principles. Again, the right arm resting like this rather than down here. And just keep in mind the same things that we've been talking about, and you'll find that there shouldn't be much of a problem. Now, perhaps you've looked at songbooks and you've seen chord symbols. You see these little boxes with notes in them, and it says C, G7, E minor. What that is, it's a system called tablature, which is different from normal music notation. What that is, it's a way of portraying an actual visual image of the fingerboard. If you look at the C chord, there's a box, you see the box, the tablature box, the chord symbol. There's 6 lines. Each line represents a string. The line on the left-hand side is your lowest string, 6th string. And the one on the right-hand side is the highest string, the E string. The lines going this way are your frets. So the very top of the box is the nut, which is called the nut. The first line is the first fret, second fret, and so on. The dots indicate fingers. So wherever there's a black dot, you place a finger at that position. So you'll see on the second to last string, the 5th string, on the 3rd fret, we have a dot. So you place your 3rd finger there. The X over top of the box means that that string is not played. Okay? So that means if you were strumming the chord, for instance, you'd only strum the 5 strings, not the 6th one. The little zeros at the top mean open strings. It means that they're played, but they're played open. No fingers of the left hand are used. So for the C chord, we have 3rd finger, you see on the 3rd fret, a dot on the 2nd fret, you can use your 2nd finger, and a dot on the 2nd string, 1st fret, C note. If you played that all together, you would have this chord. Underneath, I've notated the actual musical notation, so you can make the comparison of the chord symbol to the actual musical notation. Then we also have an E minor chord, in which we use all 6 strings, and then the G7th, which again is all 6 strings. One chord which is a bit tricky to play is the F chord. It uses only 4 strings. What you have to do is play 2 notes, the F note and the C note, with 1 finger, which is called a bar chord. So put your first finger down on the side rather than flat, and the other 2 fingers. That's your F chord. Now, I've arranged a simple tune, Michael Row Your Boat Ashore, which I'm sure you all know, and I've put the chords along with it. Now, what I've shown is how you can use an arpeggio technique. So rather than going something like that, you could actually apply one of your arpeggios. And I've given an example. Now that's just one example of many. You could take that chord, you could do that backwards. You could go, you could do that, or you could do, say, the bass note of the chord, and then a three-note pattern in the right hand. So you could do this, maybe. So you might want to start out with it. That's quite basic. Again, each different technique has a different feel to it. So feel free to experiment. Go through the chords, learn the chords, and then try to apply. Use your imagination. You don't have to use the music. You don't have to write it out in front of you. You could just see the chord symbols and play along, so that you could open almost any songbook and just play along with the chord symbols. And you could have a singer along with you, and you could sing along. They could sing the melody, and you could accompaniment them. In this particular piece, Michael Row the Boat Ashore, note that the singer has two upbeats. Okay? We have two pickup notes, a C note and an E note. So they would start out. They would have the first two beats, and then you would come in with your accompaniment. So again, just to play that last example, it could sound like this.